James, I'm curious about the last statement you made before Jason's question was about a pedestrian offense for Mike Norvell, and that's what he's known for. I instantly thought of Mike Riley, who had a really good run at Oregon State, went to the San Diego Chargers. They were okay. They were like 500 for 2 or 3 years before he got fired. But he went to Nebraska, and that didn't work for a lot of reasons. One of those reasons was he ran a West Coast offense. He inherited a quarterback in Tommy Armstrong that was basically a running back playing quarterback. Had a rocket for an arm, but had no idea where the ball was going. Couldn't read defenses. And Mike Riley's trying to run a West Coast offense when he needs, a Joe Montana type running this offense, and he's stuck with Tommy Armstrong, or he chose to stay with him and gets fired 4 years later, and he pretty much had Tommy Armstrong that entire stay. So who is the type quarterback that's going to excel in Mike Norvell's offense?
I think Mike's offense is you got to have a quarterback. You have to have a pocket presence, but you have to be an athlete in today's game. I think the kid Luke Kronhall from out of Savannah is a perfect quarterback for Mike's offense. He's a good enough athlete. He's tough, but he's not a run-first guy. Jordan Travis is a run-first guy because out of necessity for the last few years. And that's the unfortunate thing of having to play early and having to play behind bad offensive lines. You build traits that you just can't get rid of. And I think, that's where that comes from. But what Mike needs is wide receivers that can separate. And that's really what you need for any quarterback, because his offense is even with the pocket presence guy, is very RPO driven. So you still want to make sure you have the run, but he doesn't really want the quarterback running. He wants the quarterback distributing the ball like a point guard almost. And when you look at just look at the NFC East, for example, he's got 4 running backs that come out of his tree, but one of them wasn't really a running back. He was like a hybrid wide receiver. And then 2 of them were actually 2 were hybrid type wide receivers, 2 were actual running backs. So that's kind of what, I look to see. And I think Jordan Travis just gives him a different element because of how athletic he is. But I think he would much rather a guy who was a threat with his eyes and throwing the ball and booming the ball down the field. And I think we haven't had the opportunity to see that because I don't think our line has been good enough. But I also think, Trav hasn't really been disciplined enough to be able to stay there and do what he needed to do.
Jason,
can I speak to that one comment that you put up there? As an outsider, like I said, as an outsider, we don't know who the court. Like, I cover football for a living. That's the only reason I know who the coordinators are at a lot of schools. And there's internet now, there's all kinds of stuff. You knew who Mickey Andrews was because Mickey Andrews coached probably almost your entire life. Mickey Andrews my entire life. Mickey Andrews got there in 84. I was born in 1984. That's why you knew who Mickey. I promise you, outside of Mark Richt, you do not know who the offensive coordinator was before Mark Richt for the national team. You do, Jason, but he doesn't. I promise you don't know who the guy was before that, but he was a Clemson's head coach. Like, y'all got to stop with this stuff, man. Because if you can Google that, which you probably will, you know what else you can do? You can Google who the hell the offensive coordinator is now, because I can tell you who the offensive coordinator was last year. He's Oregon's current offensive coordinator. I can tell you who the offensive coordinator before that was. He's currently Arkansas's offensive coordinator. I can tell you who the coordinator was before that. He's currently Indiana's offensive coordinator. I can tell you. I can do this for days. The thing is it's a half-sided troll but you know who they are. Kendall. If you don't know who Kendall Browse is, that means you haven't watched football. The Browse name is synonymous with offense and rape. Those are the 2 things, the only 2 things you can find right now with the Browse name. And I'm sorry, it's anyways, my bad. I'm sorry, I just had to comment on that.
James shows violence.
Hey, that's what I think of too. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but damn, James.
No, I'm just saying, like, come on, like, let's be real. It's the most, like, no matter how bad Florida State is, I'll even go with the big 3: Florida State, Miami, and Florida. No matter how bad they are, college football still revolves, still, like, it's still there. It's still the talk. You know who these people are. I don't know. Is that in Nebraska? I can tell you who I don't know. I know who Scott Frost is. I don't know anybody. Like, I don't know Nebraska's offensive coordinator because they stink. And Nebraska hasn't been good since John Vilma almost killed their Heisman candidate quarterback and the tight end in back-to-back plays.
They just got a good offensive coordinator from Pitt. He was Kenny Pickett's OC.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I know
a new one.
But by the way,
my guy from the. Okay, my bad. So I do know. See what you said. I do. He was the UMass coach. He built UMass when they won their national championship, and he was down. He was the He was Randy Shannon. He was Randy Shannon's OC. Yep. Yeah, he's a good OC.
But by the way, it was Brad Scott who was our offensive coordinator before Mark RogersTV.
I know.
I just had to for the fans. The fans, they don't.
He also was in South Carolina, right? Brad
Scott. Exactly. He was a guy who he went to Clemson. He got a job as a head coach. Like that's you. I mean, but he wasn't. Anyways, it's just you know who Bob. Everybody knows Bobby and everybody knows Mickey. If you know the offensive coordinators like that, you're just an offense. You're a college football savant or FSU fan. Like that's the only one.